As I mentioned in the previous video, we're going to make all the dashboard appear more visually appealing. We're going to use conditional formatting feature that's available in Excel. Specifically, we will use formulas to convert all the text into colors, and then there are two different types of formulas that we will use in conditional formatting. So we will be selecting first all the cells that we want to apply the formatting to. So I've selected all these cells, and then in the home ribbon, go to conditional formatting, new rule, and here you'll actually choose use a formula to determine which cells to format, because we're going to write a formula C8. I'm using C8 because that's the first cell of our selection, and it will we want to make sure that there are no dollar symbols here. If you do a dollar symbol, then the formula will get locked to that specific column or row. So in this case, we want all the values to be calculated for its own cell, and so that's why we don't want to put any locked or absolute references here. C8 should be equal to NE. Let's do NA first. Not applicable, right? So when it's not applicable, then what format do I want to apply? And so I can choose, for example, for not applicable, let's do a pattern, let's say for example like this, and you can change the font color here. And so if I want the fonts to be white, then it'll look like this. If I want the font to be, something else, then I can choose it here. And the pattern color can also be chosen. So if you choose this, it's going to be a little bit lighter. We don't want this to be very strong and bold because this is not applicable dates, right? So you can choose according to your preference, but I'm going to choose this here. So for the most part, it is there, but it's not going to be visually distracting because those are not applicable dates. The next thing, I'm going to select all of this. We're going to repeat the same steps here. So you go to new rule and then use a formula. And this time we will type in equals C8 equals NE not employed. And this time I'm going to choose a slightly different pattern. And we will do, I guess, white. And now let's see if it's going to display anything. So fill, if I do this, it's going to display like this. So let's do OK, OK. And now the not employed will appear like that with a little bit of white NE that appears. But if you don't want that NE to be displayed like that, you can change the font color in the conditional formatting. So you might see a pattern here. So essentially we are writing the similar formula, but we are just writing it differently for each of the values. So if it is holiday, what do you want to do? So holidays, I'm going to choose somewhat of a bright color, and this is an important thing to note. I'm choosing the font color and the fill color. The fill color is the background, and then the font is going to be the text, right? So I'm choosing the same color. So what happens is even if there is text, it's not going to display anything because the colors are going to overlap. But if you want the text to be clearly visible, then choose a contrasting color. So if you choose white here, then you will be able to see the specific value. So I'll show you with this example. Let's do OK. It looks like we don't have any holiday in this month. Let's choose May. So now you will see that the text holiday or HOL is clearly visible. If that's what you want, that's fine. In this case, what I'm going to do is to make sure that the text doesn't display, only the colors should be displayed. That's what I'm trying to implement here. So for that, I want to make sure that the font color and the fill color are the same so that the text doesn't become visible to the user. So in order to edit the rule, you go back to I'll show it again, select all the cells, conditional formatting, manage rules, and then here, all the rules that we have implemented for this area now shows up. The way to read this is this formula is being applied and this format will be chosen if this is true. Whenever this formula is true, this format will be applied to all these cells. So this is how you would interpret the conditional formatting rules. So every rule that we create for this area will keep getting added to the rules manager. So if I want to change a rule or delete a rule, so I can click on this and delete the rule, but here I want to edit the rule because I want to make sure that the font color is not white and it's also the same color as the fill. Now when I hit apply, you see that the holiday or the HOL text is not visible anymore. The value is still there, it's just not going to be visible because we are formatting it that way. Now let's finish one more here because we have to color the weekends. So we'll use the exact same approach. C8 equals, this time we'll do weekend. Format, we will choose the font color. For example, I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose the same fill color. I'm going to hit OK, apply. There you go. So now the weekends are going to be shown in that gray color. And then so we still need to do a couple more. So let me just do the work part now. So new rule, use a formula. And if it is work, so C8 equals work, then I would prefer, I mean, for example, you could choose white if you don't want it to be because you're going to have a lot of work days compared to holidays or vacation. So I prefer it to be a very subtle, not very distracting color. So I will choose white for both fill and font as the working color. But if you again prefer to show the work days in a different way, you can. But now you see kind of the work days are shown in white font. If white is not going to be clear enough, or if it is not going to be visible enough, then you could choose one of the other lighter colors. And for example, the lightest here, and then change the font exactly to the same. And now it will not be totally white. As you can see here, it's not white, but it still is contrasted from the weekend. Weekends are darker gray, and this is very light gray is working day. And so you're able to start seeing some clear differences between the different types of values. And so I'm going to keep saving my file. And then the last part here is to, what about vacation? So that's obviously one of the important goals of this template. So we want to show the vacations in different colors. So in the next section, we will actually see how we're going to apply the different vacation types in different colors.